Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, 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 and welcome to the hills of Sonoma for the iGPFun-F3 series presented by SRP. We're here at Sonoma Raceway. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Sebastian Boscher was with Mark Tranter, the production booth. You're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
Gone are the hills of Suzuka. We swapped them out for some sandier options, it's fair to say. Sonoma Raceway, very close to the iGPFun-F3 League. Just having a look at the conditions, 39 degrees Celsius on the track temperature, so we still have very hot temperatures. It's going to be really difficult for our drivers to manage their grip level. It's going to be such an interesting race. The wind is also very high. But Austin, you know, we saw so much good racing last time out at Suzuka. Do you think we're going to see the same today? I mean, Sonoma's not a track that I've ever really raced on, and I think you might even have some real-life racing experience around here, but do you think we're going to see the same levels of excitement, or maybe even a little bit more?
It really is such an amazing track. The opening sector of this track, it's all uphill. There's actually a blind corner crest before you head down into the carousel, and this opening part of the track is so much fun. The carousel is also a lot of fun. That run up the drag strip, heading down, using it as its kind of backstretch, it's going to be a double apex right-hander. We could see some moves right there, but passing is going to be at a premium. It's pretty hard to pass. You got that hairpin at the end of the track. You're going to be seeing a lot of moves right there, but if you see any driver really mess it up, they'll be ending up in the wall. The start straight, not really straight. It's a double left hand. It's actually a quadruple left-hander. But as we on board of Luca Ferrani going up the hill, you can see turn 1 and turn 2. They kind of blend into each other. Lap 1 is going to be very crucial to keep this alive. You drop down the hill, then you go up a flying left-right. This is that blind corner because the exit of the corner, if you overshoot it, you'll do exactly that, and you'll be rejoining the track. Heading into the carousel, that drop down, watch out for that curve on the inside, and then you just keep holding it to the right, and then you're going to fling it all the way to the left down this massive carousel. In the spring, when I drove here, the hills are luscious green, and it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. I wish that's the version of iRacing that we have, but everybody knows it for when it comes to NASCAR season and when it's in the hot time and it's really sandy and dusty. But no, that's not sand, that's not dust, that's just dead grass. And here we go to one of my favorite sections. This is when I knew this part of the course when I was just a wee little lad, as you would say over there. It was the S's. It's the S's, and then you head out into the parking lot of the drag strip. hard onto the brakes into the hairpin, but also the pit lane entry is right there. We are going to be using that during the race unless something absolutely monstrous happens. But thank you, Luca, for all of that, for that little bit of a track guide.
It was really interesting. Luca Varani almost ending up in the pit wall. A little bit dangerous for our drivers, if you rightly point out, Austin. They do have to come into the pits to repair any damage. But here is your grid for the Sonoma iGPFun-F3 race.
Yep, Jerome Lamley starts up on pole with Will McIntyre-Jones in second place. Michael M. Coffrey is back in third, followed by Tony Jimenez, Luca Varani, Juan Coffrey, Alistair Hay, Evan Way, Andy Flint, Nicholas Westman, Rodrigo Duran, Victor Barris in 12th, followed by Alejandro Suelando. I believe he's messed with his name just to trip me up on that, and he has succeeded. Lucas Maruk, Zoltan Zomotor, Adam Talisman, Frankie Franchica, Darren Rolls, and Robert Ridgway, Ben Goatee, Potapenko, Steven Ritters, Reed Dennis, and Richard Van Veen in 24th. They're followed by Matthew Brewer-Kier, Richie Robertson, Nick Carty, Patrick Rollins, Matthew Gracie, John McKenzie, James Clark, Noel Richie Robertson, Rory Collins, Jeffrey Brewer, and Graham Nicole in 35th place at the end of our 35-car grid. And it is Lado. That was Alejandro Lado in 13th, so somebody's had a little bit of fun with that. Okay, it was showing his middle name.
Yeah,
I was very caught out by that because it's been I've been commentating on it for 2 years, and that's the first time I've seen that happen.
I mean, yeah, you get used to names, but another name that we are used to, Jerome Lamy at the top of the timing stand. He starts from pole position. Will McIntyre-Jones regaining that form that we saw him have earlier on in the season. Of course, getting married. Didn't have the greatest honeymoon race in Fuji. Suzuka was a bit better, but can he change his fortunes around? About 10 seconds until we go live and we can find out. But it's going to be such a good race. Michael Coffrey's back after his first race at Watkins Glen. He had the win taken away from him. Is that going to be the same fate that faces him today?
It's going to be a very action-packed as it's 5 red lights and it's green, 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 and away we go. Here at Sonoma, it's a great start up and around the field right now. Everybody's just fanning out, heading into turn 1. You want to have that inside line heading into turn 1 and not go a little bit wide because the track just really falls away with you. But here at iGPFun, everybody's been told to take it extremely easy because you do have that blind crest, especially right now. If you have somebody going a little bit wide, they can have a very bad rejoin around. But looking at the field, everybody's been very clean and very good on the track right now. As we're looking at Rodrigo Duran holding off Evan Way. Rodrigo Duran had a good start. Just got it one move on the start as they head into the carousel right now. Everybody's very spread out and doing very nicely at keeping this a very clean race.
Remarkable start from everybody. No incidents or notifications of incidents coming up on our timing stand. Pieti getting past Ridgway. He's up into 19th place, right on board with Rodrigo Duran. Evan Way right in his mirrors as we head through the S's section where the downforce takes over. You've got to be wary of your cold tyres. Dirty air. Brewer, Van Veen, I think, have had some form of issue out on track. Austin, they're dropping down the order. I think I might have spoken a little bit too soon. Yeah, Matt Brewer now in 34th, second to last. In fact, Brent did not take the start, so he is effectively last in the race. Still going, mind you, but two of our drivers unfortunately coming across the line to head into lap 2.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a crash in the background. I think that might have just been at the start of the S's, and it just might have been a fight for the same bit of track, but nobody could really decide on where they needed to be. But we do have a gap forming, or formed already, over a 1 second gap. Jerome Lamley pulling away from McIntyre-Jones, who's holding off Coffrey. And then it's a nose-to-tail thing as Evan Way and Duran have had an issue, and they're around at the top of the hill.
That's not where you want to be. Rodrigo Duran resets to the pit lane. He is out of the race. Let's have a look at the replay. This is
It's going to be the blind press. I think he's just carried a little bit too much speed. No. He's just completely destroyed him under braking. Oh, he wanted to go on towards the old NASCAR layout, or the layout that they now use. But this is the replay of Matthew Brewer and Richard Van Veen heading into the S's, and just too much mustard off the exit, and around they go.
That was Richard Van Veen's issue, and Matt Brewer was the innocent bystander there. Nothing he could have done. Somebody kicking up cones. There's somebody flying in the background. I think that was Nicholas Westman. That was Westman taking the unorthodox Monza wet line, I think we'll have to call it, flying through the air with the greatest of ease. Rolinson and Talisman having a little bit of a battle in 13th and 14th place. Alistair Hay, good so far. 3-turn 1, he goes under pressure from Coffrey, applying pressure to Luca Varani. Alistair Hay's got it all to do at the moment.
I think Westman's connection just made that happen, but I'm so glad we brought that up right on this weekend.
Well, I figured it was my duty. I've only just...
It's so topical.
See, that's what you come to iGPFun for. You don't come for the racing, you come for our commentators' quotes and our topical quotes at that. See if we can add any more into the broadcast. Alistair Hay doing a great job. I'll tell you what, Juan Coffrey behind him looking very racy through the carousel. Just so much more grip available to him at the moment. I think he might have even been able to fire his tyres up a little bit quicker than Alistair Hay. Will he pay dividends for that later on in the race? But at the moment it doesn't matter. I think he's looking to get past Alistair Hay, and I think he's got the pace to do it fairly soon.
Yeah, Juan, as we ride on board, you said that the tires are definitely lined up. They were probably lit up with a Ferrari fire as, oh, look at down to the inside. That's an early lick for going on there. Here comes Coffrey on the attack, taking massive advantage, looking down to the inside, heading into the hairpin. Down to the inside, a little bit of lock of the brakes, staying on to the curving on the inside, and Coffrey making the move work, but off the exit, here comes Hay once more. Hay could have a switchback opportunity, looking down to the inside. They're going to go side by side, heading into turns 2 and 3 right now. Still side by side, Juan's onto the inside now. Hay looking for a switchback, but Juan able to stay on to 6th place, but Hay absolutely wanted to go for a move right there, but he just chose the wrong place, wrong time for that move. He was a little bit more patient. He could have got Varani into the hairpin and stayed right there, but oh, off the track they go. No questions about track limits right here, as we don't need the FIA to tell us how many penalties we need. We just need grass.
I think I counted two little mentions of Formula 1 in there, Austin. Congratulations, you've beaten my one wet quote, Nicholas Westman. On the back of Andy Flint. Flint's had some form of adventure on that last lap as well. He's been off the track but come back on. I wonder if it was the same thing that we saw Juan Coffrey do, just run wide on that blind corner, hit the little bit of the dead grass and lose a little bit of momentum. Westman trying to capitalise as much as he can on that, and actually you'll start to be aware, and you will see the gaggle of cars ahead of you start to move forward or further and further away from you, I should say, and that's when you start to feel the pressure. You realise that you need to start making these moves. You need to be decisive, because you've got to stay with that next leading pack. Otherwise, you're effectively going to be, only realistically able to get, a top 5 finish. Luca Varani, though, doing great in 5th. And Michael Coffrey's got past McIntyre Jones.
I was about to say, speaking of leading packs, Coffrey and McIntyre Jones have had a little bit of a fight, and Coffrey jumped up into 2nd place for McIntyre Jones. There is McIntyre Jones ahead of Coffrey. Is this going to be a dive? No, it's just a little bit late on the brakes. And, deep onto the brakes, McIntyre Jones, and missed the apex by a country mile. But Coffrey left in the space onto the inside for McIntyre to see if he wanted to take the move on there. But McIntyre Jones and Coffrey grouped up in the fight for 2nd place.
Michael Coffrey now really needs to pump in some great sector times if he wants to catch up to Jerome Lamy. The gap is now 2.3 seconds. That's extended ever since Coffrey and McIntyre Jones started battling out, albeit briefly. It damaged the gap between themselves and Lamy. Lamy in a league of his own at the moment. He's got the fastest lap. In fact, he was 2 tenths quicker than 2nd and 3rd place on that last lap. We'll see what they can do on this lap now that Coffrey's had one full lap of clean air. He hasn't had anybody ahead of him, but Jerome Lamy just doing what he needs to do. But Austin, we've seen him do this before. My mind goes back to Suzuka. He was out in the lead, he had it all to himself, and he made a mistake at Spoon, and he dropped down the order. He lost the win, undoubtedly, with that mistake then. And I think that will be playing in his mind. He'll be thinking about that, and he just needs to keep it consistent and clean if he wants this win. I know he's got the pace, but he hasn't got the consistency.
And Sonoma punishes so hard on mistakes with the grass on the outside, dirt, grass, sand, yellow stuff, not tarmac on the outside of the track. There is little runoff here. The curves are the most amount of runoff that you will see, and those are not that big compared to everything else. So if you do make a mistake, it's going to punish hard, especially in these Formula 3 cars. And so if you make a mistake, it will really hurt. And Jerome Lamley, after what we saw at Spoon with just getting onto a curb, spinning you around, just imagine that, what happens here as Coffrey has had an issue on the hairpin exiting the drag strip. What has happened to Coffrey? He's actually retired, and he's jumped out into the pit lane. So Juan Coffrey, I think, might have been tagged right here as he is chasing Luca Barani, as this is a very early replay. So I think this is we're gonna be seeing well, he's cut the track right there.
I thought that was going to be the point of his accident.
We're completely on a different part of the track right now. So this is a very long replay with Veronic getting into the grass. He had a little bit of a mistake right there. And I'm expecting, 3 wide, exiting the carousel. Coffrey defending, pushing Veronic all the way down to the grass. Does he get tagged on the brakes? Yes, he does. From Luca, though. And while he did that, one car went screaming off wide. And Mark's gonna hate us. There's been another big incident. Westman and Barris are in the pits, and Alejandro Lado is off the track.
Hey, as well. I don't know if you mentioned him, Austin, but he's back into the pits as well. This is what happened to Lado coming through turn 1, very close to the outside barrier. Through turn 2 we go.
Loses and
that's
cover
Alistair Hay.
1, 2, 3. Do we get 4 involved? No, cars just going in and out and around, but 3 cars involved right there. All Constantina effect. Blind corner, blind crest. You gotta have your wits about you right there. If you see a yellow flag, expect it to be on the racing line. And that is unfortunate for those 3 drivers. As the top 10 has been shaken and stirred right there. So I know some people are more fans of shaken, not stirred. It's definitely been shaken up completely. As in the top 10, we have 4 drivers that are in the double digits of overtakes.
Fairly incredible statistics. Lado, Rowlandson, Juan Coffrey, Alistair Hay, Evan Way, James C. Clark, and Rodrigo Duran are all in the pit lane at the moment. So that's why we're seeing this huge shake-up of the field. There's many of our sort of names that we've come to familiarise ourselves with being in the top 10 are out at the moment. They could rejoin the race later with an attrition rate like that. Frankie Frangica is the latest driver to pull into the pits. But, it might be worth these drivers getting back out on the track and just lapping and seeing if they can sort of pick up the odd players here or there. There's so many cars in the pits already. We've not even hit 10 laps yet. You still could be in for a good result. It's Reed Dennis looking. There's a spin!
There's a car on the outside, in the back end of Brewer goes around into the lapped car on the outside that was just letting them by. I'm guessing he saw Reed on. Is about Reed? Loses the back end coming over the blind crest, and now Reed Dennis is under pressure by Victor Barris. He locks the brakes. Here comes Victor Barris. It's just chaos in the lower 20s. Everything is just, this is. Some people thought that this was going to be a boring race. Sonoma is such a boring track. If you say this is boring, man, it's just chaos through and through. Reed Dennis somehow able to keep it on there as Victor Barris dives it up onto the inside on Reed Dennis. Reed, though, able to hold it around to the outside, cuts across the nose of Victor Barris to stay ahead. But, man, he had the move, and then he almost lost it in the few corners remaining.
Dennis doing a great job showing his amazing car control skills. Victor Barris with that half-hearted move into turn 7, not quite sure what he was expecting to do with that. He wasn't late enough on the brakes for any meaningful move. He's just cost himself time, but I think at this point it's a matter of if. When Reed Dennis wide, he had to apply the brakes to arrest the slide, and this is Victor Barris' best opportunity. In the slipstream he goes as we cross the line, start another lap through turn 1. It's not really an overtaking opportunity, but Victor Barris has got so much speed. He's pushing him. It's almost a dumping run if we were in NASCAR. Incredible driving. Victor Barris still at 22nd, but got the over-under on Reed Dennis. They're going to go side by side as we head towards turns 3 and 4. Absolutely incredible racing.
Line right. Reed had a bad line through here the last time by, and he had a big lockup, and he's done it again 2 laps in a row as they drop down the hill. It's a massive sharp drop off as they head into the first part of the double carousels. But the main carousel, you see Victor Barris. He's just staying back there and taking a little bit different line, maximizing the exit because Reed Dennis is all over the place. And Barris once again in the traps as they're exiting the traction. Barris looking down to the inside right now as they're side by side. Barris dives it up onto the inside. Dennis forks go out wide as there goes side by side, and Victor Barris finessing it up into 21st as Lucas Maruk is in the pit lane from 6th place.
I think that was the damage that we saw. We saw that incident in turn 2. Maruk was caught up in that. He managed to sort of escape around the outside, get back on track. But I was, thinking, did he pick up any front wing damage? And I think we're seeing the answer right here. He stops in his pit box and then immediately starts up again, and that tells us that he's taken his one and only fast repair. This is our championship leader, Lucas Maruk. He's been so consistent. Maybe not had the overall pace, but he's had the consistency. There's somebody off in the background there. Again. That's Jeffrey Brewer having the adventurous line through turn 2. But he's what I'm saying is Maruk has had the consistency, but it's not come together for him today. And it's a big opportunity for Lamy, even McIntyre Jones to really take the fight to Maruk in the championship standing.
It's Reed Dennis. Oh, well, I thought after the first time, but the car is just so unsettled for him. We just saw him get overtaken by Victor Barris, and the Texan trying to stay with him, heading into turns 2 and 3, just up the hill and back, and too much mustard goes around. And that is like the most common place to loop it. One of the most common places. And Sonoma, if you don't take care of those tires, if you just get a little bit, overzealous with it, you're going to have a bad time. As we're looking at Potapenko. Potapenko, one of our biggest movers, up 12 spots, sitting in 12th place, the Ukrainian, and doing very well.
We think that Reed Dennis has got a stuck throttle, maybe around the 20% mark. He's certainly having problems with applying any form of meaningful traction to the rear end of his car. But
is he going to have to put his foot underneath it and try
and lift it back up? I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a tactic I have heard.
It's a tactic I have heard. I think it's a Ferrari tactic. Though usually when it's a Ferrari tactic, it's not a good thing. We did see how they do make good barbecues.
They do, and also very terrible braking systems. And no handbrakes in Ferraris, interestingly enough. Potapenko doing an absolutely stellar job. His debut at Suzuka went really well, just a little bit unlucky with a few incidents, but really showing his pace today. P9 at the moment being caught by the 27 car of Stephen Ridders, but also applying pressure to the 28 car, Ben Chieti. So, he's got the pace. Oh, that's very wide. A little bit of sideways lateral movement in the car. That was perfectly judged. Got me a little bit scared. Maybe Ridders behind was thinking he could make a move, but Potapenko in control. Cones go absolutely flying. I think we need to start a counter, Austin, of how many cones go flying this race. I think at least 10 cones that we've had to dispatch, and congratulations and thanks to the marshals that replace them every single lap. It's Richie Robinson, I think, has had some form of issues. Zamota getting past him. I thought he pulled into the pits, but Zoltan Zamota up to 11th place. Richie Robinson down in 12th. Zamota is looking for a top 10 at the moment. He's at 4 places from where he started.
I think the tires are already being beaten down. We are in California, Southern California right now in the hills, and the sun takes a big beating right here. I think the track is extremely hot, and making tires and tire life just have a big struggle. So Mark, if you could do me a favor, can we see the weather and see how hot it is out there right now? 36 degrees out on track, 24 degrees in the air, so it's pretty toasty out there, but it's not in crazy range. It's not 41 degrees outside like it is here in Texas, so, make a live.
Well, 96.8 Fahrenheit if you are more inclined to the Freedom Unit approach. Very hot out there for the drivers. I think you're right, Austin. The drivers are going to be struggling with their tyre wear, and you really have to envy, a driver like Jerome Lamy. He can do whatever he wants. He's got enough natural pace within himself and the car that he can, lap around quicker than everybody else. But he can also manage his tyres. He's got the luxury just to ease it into the corner as he goes through turn 6 at the moment, the carousel. He can just ease the car into the apex. And if it starts to wander a little bit, as it picks up a little bit of understeer, he doesn't have to force the issue and apply more steering lock. He can let it wander and take that sort of 1/10 of a second hit because, he's not being challenged behind him. So Jerome Lamy, it's all just coming right for him at the moment. He's got the track position, he's got the ability to just rest off the throttle and just ease it. Having said that, he's pushing quite a lot through the back end of the circuit. Very wide in turns 8A. I thought he was going to touch the grass and go for a little bit of a spin, but just to avoid that downfall, into the braking zone of turn 11. A little bit of track limits violations there, but we'll let Jerome Lamy off on this occasion. He crosses the line, and it just looks quite peaceful up there for Jerome Lamy at the moment. And I think we're going to have to recommend to him that he watches the broadcast so he can understand that no, it was actually it was a very interesting race behind him.
Yeah, the race behind him looks like everybody is walking on tightrope or competing in a various amount of games where a lot of traps are being set up. As Steven Ritters is trying to put pressure on Potapenko in this fight of 3.
So Ritters still behind Potapenko. Potapenko still in 9th. He's catching Guietti now. So that's allowing Potapenko to benefit from the slipstream that Guietti is providing. Having said that, Potapenko is going to get the dirty air, and it's going to be quite bad around this circuit. Lots of medium high-speed corners, and that's where you feel the effects of the dirty air the most. But Ritters is now following Potapenko for quite some time, and you have to wonder if Ritters is either biding his time or just unable to make the pass to Potapenko, and maybe does he need to sort of drop back and just sort of save the tyres and sort of build up an attack and build up some momentum. Go for Potapenko again. Ritters wide on the exit of turn 6. That's not going to help his chances one bit. Pull the tyres down a little bit. There's some controversy in there. Drivers going outside of the track limits onto the grass to purposely pull the tyres down. Especially, we saw drivers being disqualified from the race at Watkins Glen when they were found to be doing that. I'm not saying that was intentional there at all. It completely wasn't, but can sort of benefit you in certain ways. Westman now up to 16th, and Lucas Maruk as well, Austin. He's made his way up to 18th place after stopping. He's gotten past the 20th place driver, Noel Richie Robinson, Victor Barris as well. Lucas Maruk up to 18th and really on a recovery drive today.
It really is a recovery drive for Lucas Maruk after that incident, especially if you're the championship leader. You're definitely going to be trying to claw anything you can to get back at it. As we're looking at Patrick Rollins holding off Nick Carney right now. Patrick Rollins up 15 spots here today. Doing very well, but you can see that gap to our leader, Jerome Lamy. Everybody around here has had an issue. They've all been off track at least one time. Some of them a little bit more than the others, but everybody's Sonoma is just a very tricky track to really master. But as you can see, there's a big buildup of grass off a few of the exits around here, and everyone's just struggling. It's got to keep it consistent, as there's a little bit of mistake. Rollins goes out a little bit wide, as there we got Lucas Maruk taking that wider line compared to John McKenzie, looking for the speed off the exit to get a run, as our championship leader is chasing down Lucio, as we have a move down to the inside. That's Nicholas Westman sending it up onto the inside, but he's oversent it, and we got a little bit of a switchback opportunity for Grace, but Grace, he had to lock up the brakes because Westman, the Finn, the flying Finn earlier this race, sitting in 15th.
Yeah, we saw Westman doing his best, as I said, weapon pressured earlier on, flying through the air. He's dropped down 5 positions from where he started, so something clearly must have happened. Was Westman involved in one of those? He went to the pits.
Yeah,
I think he was he involved in one of those sort of spins that we saw at turn 2?
Yeah, I think it was part of the triple decker.
So Westman, obviously another one of our drivers now on the recovery drive. Nicholas Westman, though, next up for him, Nick Carty.
Big slide from Nick Carty, but I must say, Westman is the leading car that has come out of the pit lane, that has been to the pits. Our second highest driver who's been in the pits is Lucas Marquez up ahead in 9th place. Goatee Guggetti has had an issue. They've been on the track. They dropped down to 11th place, and that is right ahead at the carousel where all these drivers are. You can see the smoke in the air. I feel like
that was Potapenko, wasn't it? It was Potapenko and Gietti and Ridders in that little battle for the cars, and I'm not sure what's going on with him. We'll see if we can grab a replay, see what's transpired between them as we have a look at the 28 Canadian driver through turns 4 and 5, heading towards turn 6 now. Going to touch the grass on entry. He's headed straight to the scene of the accident, lucky to keep it out of the barriers, but he is all good. He's just lost a heap of time. He can deal with that in the end. As we go back live to our live pictures, Nick Carty locking up on the entrance to the final hairpin. He's battling Westman, so Carty under pressure from Nicholas Westman. They're side by side as we head through turn 1. Carty just watching. Oh, sorry, it was Westman and Rowlands. I do apologise there. We have the action on track. Sorry, I do apologise. So we've got Lucas Baruch in 17th place. He's doing a great job after having to go through the field. Gracie is his next challenger. He'll be in 16th place. Lucas Baruch, so much more pace through turn 6, and he's now got this long straight towards turn 7 and 7A. One of the best overtaking opportunities of the track. Gracie goes defensive. Lucas Baruch is going to have to go all the way around the outside. Thinks better of diving to the inside and thinks about the run out, but can't do anything about that in the end. He's just going to have to wait a little bit longer, but he certainly has the pace over Gracie. Head through to the final section of the lap. Everything's just calming down at the moment.
A little bit of defensive move right there. Baruch trying to go on the outside as you see Carty a big lockup on the inside. That's something you do not want to see side by side of the car on your inside. Matthew Gracie with that lockup. Potapenko up ahead has had an issue. Sorry, I was gone. There was a noise outside. There's a tornado forming outside. So, yay.
Yeah, stay
oh,
safe.
No. Oh, that was so close to disaster right there. Gracie losing the back end, almost getting collected by Baruch and Victor Barris. But the back end of that car is slipping out right there. And oh my goodness, that was a heart and mouth moment.
So many of those moments today, and we can chalk that one up on a little board. Michael Coffrey, though, not really had much excitement. He managed to get past McIntyre Jones earlier on, just been, a little bit quicker than McIntyre Jones, but that's all shifting now. Lap 17, in fact, was a really poor lap for Coffrey. 7/10 McIntyre gained on Coffrey, so Coffrey under pressure again. And while this is happening, Jerome Lamy, Rowlands, I think, has had some form of issue, though. He's dropping down the order. He's in the pits. He's close to the pit, so Patrick Rowlands, he's still going to gain a position from where he started, but he is out of the race, and I think we're going to see what's going on.
The SS just gets a little bit off into the grass, and whoa,
that's a mega accident.
Car stopped right there. That is a violent hit. Almost equivalent to, actually, I don't want to even make a real life comparison to how massive a hit that was. That was just pure stopped.
There are days like today, and when you see an accident like that, I'm so thankful that we were in sim racing and they can just jump out of their rigs. After all, and the worst injury that you're going to have is a sore wrist if you've got a direct drive wheel or anything like that. Huge accident. Yeah, I'm completely with you there. Nicholas Westman and Gietti battling it out as we head towards turn 7. Gietti on the inside. Baruch has got past Nick Carty in the background, but we're staying on board with this battle. Gietti, after dropping down the order, after making that mistake, he hit the grass on the entrance to turn 6. He's on the back foot. He was up with Ridders and Potapenko. Talking of those two, Ridders now past the Ukrainian. Potapenko down to 9th. Ridders up to 8th. A great showing from our Canadian drivers today. They're 6th, 8th, I was going to say 12th, but now 13th with Westman getting past. But Gietti not happy about that. Oh, there's contact!
No! Off in the infield of the final sector, the staging area of the track strip. Gietti around, and oh, that is so unfortunate right there. And also for Gietti, if he crossed over the midpoint of that field while spinning around, he could be dealt a stop and go for cutting the course. As up ahead, I think it was a laps car that was off the track, but this entire race is just chaos right now. And all these drivers who have had issues from the start all the way, and they're still in this race. Nicholas Westman is up into 12th place, as this is Zoltan Zoboter putting pressure on Potapenko, as I believe that is Brewer, or I'm not sure. There was a lap car that they just passed right now. That was, yeah, it was Matt Brewer.
Brewer has not had the race that he would have liked. He's been almost off the track more than he's been on it so far today. Hopefully the final 15 laps of this race, he can gain some consistency, because it's just not gone his way so far. Zoltan Zoboter on the inside of Potapenko. Potapenko there tried to turn in, realized that there was going to be a Dallara F3 car in the way of him and the Apex. But he decides to get out of the way. Zoboter up to 9th place. He's now up 6 places from where he started. Next up for him, Stephen Ridders, the 27 car. He's up 14 places. Is Stephen Ridders, I should say. Killer and Richie Robinson, though, Austin, up 15 spots. Great drive from him. I hazard a guess it's going to be about 14 places in a minute, because Westman looking completely rapid, if not a little bit sideways at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit sideways. You're going to have to watch out after those tires, as Richard Robinson just looking after those tires, but look at behind him, Nicholas Westman. We saw that he knows how to get around the track. He's the leading driver coming out of the pit lane, and he's got a good run getting into that draft. Looking down to the inside of Westman, down to the inside of Richie Robinson. But Richie Robinson, though, using all the track that he can. No track limits around that corner. Could go underneath the yellow line 10 times over, and you want that. The FIA will not give you a penalty for that, or iRacing will not give you a penalty for that. And you know, that would annoy a few Formula 1 drivers, or Formula 2 drivers, or Formula 3 drivers.
I think it will annoy all drivers at that point. I tell you what, though, somebody who's not annoyed is Jerome Lamy, a 1:22.24. That's the fastest lap of the race last time by my very quick maths, which is always dangerous, around 7/10 of a second to second place Coffrey. I mean, crazy pace that Lamy has got. I was talking about, you know, him having to save his tires. Sorry, he's having to save his tires, but he doesn't need to do that at the moment. He's got 14 laps to go in this race, and at this point he's put the hammer down. Some would say it's even hammer time. Jerome Lamy in a world of his own at the moment. What can Will McIntyre-Jones do? Can he take this second place back? Down the inside he goes.
Well, you said hammer time. Well, honestly, Will McIntyre-Jones has just unleashed the Mac attack right there, up into second place.
Great move by McIntyre-Jones, retaking the place that he qualified in. Coffrey down to third. I think Coffrey wants this place back. We've seen him, he's very aggressive, he's so quick, but does he have the tyres to respond? And that's Tony Jimenez in fourth place. Didn't even realise that he'd got so close. So Jimenez is in the battle for second place.
Yeah, Jimenez catching up with these two. These two have been battling with each other so much, but they've dropped off the pace so much. But Tony Jimenez has always been there, and he's just been very consistent on his lap times. And actually, last lap, he put down a scorcher of a lap, 122.9. And that little kerfuffle that McIntyre-Jones Coffrey just had in the hairpin, that really slowed him down. McIntyre-Jones leaving that inside door wide open right there. You saw him going all the way down to the inside to break off that draft right there. But Coffrey and Jones, and it's now a three-car fight, because Jimenez, I would say, is in this fight right now, and Tony Jimenez has got a great show ahead between McIntyre-Jones and Coffrey. As behind him, Keeler and Richie Robertson has had an issue. And I'm guessing it would be, yeah, it is at the opening sector. He's just probably just gone off the track, and just had a little bit of a spin. He only lost, I would say, 2 spots though, so Not that bad, but it is definitely still hurting him. And, yep, losing it before the grass right there. But that is very, very hurtful for your race.
Hurtful for your race, hurtful for your tyre temperatures as well. Killer and Richie Robinson's going to be fighting with his car for the next few laps as the tyre temperatures slowly cool down after being exerted to quite some latitudinal forces. That's my little bit of science facts for the day. Hopefully that was right. Mackenzie up ahead of Richie Robinson. They're in this little gaggle. Got about 6/10 to Mackenzie up ahead, and Ben Gietti 7/10 behind. What can our top two do? I tell you what, Jerome Lamy, again, a fastest lap last time by a 22.04. So he is now, lapping some ways. Tony Jimenez has got past Michael Coffrey.
Yeah, Coffrey's
slow.
Coffrey's got to slow down. Coffrey is going slow. I think he might have found the slowdown way out there on the outside of the track, but Coffrey has fallen down to 4th place.
Coffrey, costly mistake for him. Let's see what happened. So Tony Jimenez, the 11 car, is behind him at the moment as we head towards turn 7.
If he goes extremely wide here, you can't get it. He's lost the rear. So it's not a slowdown. Well, it is a slowdown pretty much because he lost the rear end. And, the back end of these cars are so sensitive, especially when they get hot and worn. And we still got 10 laps to go in this race. Do you think some of these drivers might be thinking about, I need a pit?
I've been in this situation before when I've gone, yeah, the driver's definitely going to want to come into the pits. I mean, if anybody remembers last season in Brazil, in the Lagos, we saw Sam Hermer come into the pits and he was in the lead and he thought that was going to be the quickest way. It just doesn't make any sense to come into the pits because although you don't lose too much time in terms of the actual physical time it takes to take off the old set, put on a new set of tyres, the warm-up phase is so damaging that you just lose any benefit that you might gain. So I think the drivers have just got to stick it out there and just hope that the earlier laps that they had, crucially from the start to about sort of lap 10, I'd say, were as kind as they can be to the tyres, and that's going to what's going to set you up in good stead for the remainder. If you haven't treated the tyres well, you're going to be in for a world of pain in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, and I'm expecting the Coffrey world of pain is just starting because we're just seeing the back end of that car twitch and squirm and wiggle around. We're looking at Ben right now, the Canadian, sitting in 18th place, up 2 spots where they qualified. They're having a pretty okay race. We did see them spin out earlier on in the race, so they're just trying to recover that right now, but they're sitting in the top 20.
I mean, Gietti was running as high as 8th place at one point, so Gietti, although the stats say that he's had a good race, I think he'll be sorely disappointed with how this race has turned out from his side. What can he do? Can he get past Killer and Richie Robinson, I should say, Mackenzie as well? Actually, Mackenzie and Richie Robinson battling it out on the exit of turn 7. With a little bit of contact there. I think we picked it up a little bit late there, Austin, but I got the sense that there was some little bit of drama happening between the two drivers.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of words happening between a few of these drivers after this race. Some of them probably not happy. Some of them is probably struggling to keep the car alive and probably focusing on keeping the car alive. Then the side-by-side battling that we're seeing right now up ahead of it is Maruk and Westman. Or actually, no, it's not Maruk and Westman ahead. That would be Gracie and Cardi. Or side-by-side. One of the drivers just hit the wall. Did Mackenzie just tap the wall on the outside?
I had my eyes averted to the timing screen, but we've seen drivers be so close to that wall. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the drivers has pushed it slightly too far. It's going to be so easy to pick up a little bit of steering damage there. Maybe you'd hope that it is it's just a small amount of steering damage at most. But I'm surprised we haven't seen a few wheels flying at some point during the race as the drivers have been getting so close. As we've seen Mackenzie, Richie Robinson racing it at the moment. Mackenzie still can't find a way past. That's opened the door now for Ben Gietti. He's going to be looming large in the mirrors. He's going to pull to the inside. I hazard a guess. He's going to try it down the inside of turn 7.
Oh, this is where you want to make that move down to the inside. Just try to force the other driver to make a mistake into the brakes, but that is not going to happen for Gietti. Mackenzie holds it around to the outside right there. Well defended. You can use a lot of the track on the outside. Just maximize the speed through that corner. And what the driver up the inside is just wishing to do is just lock up or make a mistake through there because You know, around the outside of a double apex corner is probably the best you can do, because if you misjudge that double apex, you're going to get it wrong. It's down to the inside is Noel Richie Robertson, and able to get the move on Brewer, as there's a little bit of a kerfluffle happen up ahead. I think that's Frankie. No, that is not Frankie having the issue. It's John McKenzie having the issue. We got a 4-car fight. Goyetti looking down to the inside, but watch out, Goyetti. You got Richie Robertson looking down to the inside of you right now, heading into turns 2, as this fight is absolutely scrumdiddlous to watch.
Austria turn 3 all over again. Now Richie Robertson on the inside of Ben Guietti. He's made it. He's made it stick. Ben Guietti now down the place. He's in 18th place. Sorry, no, Richie. Who's that? Richie Robinson, because our time stats haven't updated.
That is a lap. That's a car on a different lap. The blue and yellow car ahead of him is Luedo. Luedo is the mystery driver in this situation, but you see he's still in there. He's a lap down, but you know you're still going to be fighting. Speaking of fighting, Protopenko and Lucas Maruk in a fight with each other as well. Maruk trying to recover that, and Maruk he's passed Westman. Westman has had an issue, so Maruk is now our top driver that went into the pit lane from an incident.
Protopenko so close to being in the top 10 in his second race in the iGPFun series, but I think Lucas Maruk is just about to take that away from him. Protopenko had the pace earlier on, but I wonder if he's just sort of used up all of his rubber early on. He's taken the sweets from the bag, as it were, and now he's paying the price. Lucas Maruk, again, just so much more command of his car. He can place it wherever he wants to. He has more front end, more traction. He's going to go to the outside of turn 6. We've seen, I think it was Guietti actually, having problems. Carty is fallen off the track somewhere along. Yeah, he's dropping down the field, so that the American is probably out of this race. We'll have a look at him, but Maruk side by side with Protopenko as we head into turn 7. Maruk fairly easily got the place under braking. Protopenko to 11th, Maruk up to 10th, and he's got 7 laps to go. So the motor is looking, he's about 6 seconds up ahead, but you never know with Lucas Maruk. He is absolutely relentlessly quick, as Austin was seeing what happened to Nick Carty.
Yeah, it's this blind crest again. I feel like it's just too much speed coming out of the corner, catching the grass on the outside. Exactly like that. The most common mistake here at Sonoma, I see, and that is just hurtful, because you're stuck on the grass. You get to see everybody rising over the rise. You're going to be looking at your relative, and if you're right in front of a pack, it hurts even more. As this is Noel Richie Robertson, not going to be going for a move right here, but definitely putting the pressure filling the mirrors of McKenzie. McKenzie goes deep. Here comes Richie Robertson momentarily onto the apex. He could pressure McKenzie to just back off right there, but they're going to be side by side across the line. McKenzie getting the exit better by going wide into the hairpin and leading off Richie Robertson heading into turns 2 and 3, but he goes out a little bit wide, gets onto the curb, and Richie Robertson, thinking safety over getting the position, backs off right there. He could have had the opportunity, but you can see both of them just kind of backed off and didn't want to be taking the issue. McKenzie had to back off, or else he was going into the grass, and Richie Robertson had to back off in case he did go into the grass and just decided to take survival. Michael Coffrey has had an issue. Coffrey was sitting in 4th place, and that's 1 and 2 cones annihilated at the corner entry, and they get their revenge at the hairpin, and almost gets collected by Richard Van Veen right there, as oh my gosh, that was close to disaster right there. I've seen multiple incidents at that hairpin that end up badly. Tony Stewart can confirm that one, especially if you run into Robbie Gordon. I'm sure that whatever you said there, Austin, was completely right, and I have no idea what you said, but what I have noticed is from 21st to 25th, we have an all-American field, so Richard Van Veen sort of ruining that a little bit in 20th place. Flint on Dennis. Andy Flynn, again, not had the luck. He's been, oh, there's somebody running in the background. I think that's Collins going for a spin. Flint side by side with Dennis. Flint just going to have to concede this place so far. We're watching that car rejoin in the background, the yellow car that spun. He makes it back onto the track. That was James Clark, I do apologise, who went for a spin. Flint now up into 22nd place. Reed Dennis in 23rd. But Andy Flint, as I was saying, has not had the luck this season. He's had the pace, just, you know, he's been unlucky. Fuji comes to mind, where
had an incident. But points are points, and you've got to be consistent where you can take it. And Andy Flint has always been the master of the recovery drive. He just needs to have that break of luck and be able to be where his pace sort of suggests that he could be. And you know, with the pace that he's running at the moment, he's looking like he could easily be in the top 10 in pace. And Coffrey so lucky as well to not end up with any damage after that incident. It has put him into the clutches though of Luca Varani. He's got a lap car in between him and Michael Coffrey, but we've seen Luca Varani, I keep on saying it in these races, especially as we get to the end, that Luca Varani is so quick at the end of the race. He's a dark horse, we don't know what he's going to do, and I have a feeling that we could be seeing Luca Varani up into 4th place.
Yeah, Luca Varani is definitely on route to be having a good finish here. And Coffrey has been struggling with that car the multiple laps. He's 3 seconds ahead of 5th place, but Luca is definitely en route to make that 222 into 4th, maybe get onto the podium and get a little bit lucky. Coffrey hits another cone on entry right there as here comes Luca. They do have a lap car separating them. Actually 2 lap cars separating Richard Van Veen and Nick Carty.
Nick Carty, another one of our sort of American drivers in that little train from 23rd to 25th place. Carty, not needed. He's not required to get out of the way like you see in Formula 1 or any sort of other single-seater motorsports, but it's a polite thing to do, especially if you've got one of the league organisers behind you. Carty runs wide. Oh, there's somebody off the track in the background. I think that's James Clark again. That's the third time he's been off the track in 2 laps. Carty gets out of the way. Luca Varani now clear to fight Michael Coffrey. 4 laps to go. Varani's going to need quite a lot of luck on his side, but anything is possible in motor racing, and as James Clark is proving, the conditions are not exactly easy out there at the moment.
As Luca chasing down the car ahead of Coffrey, but the car ahead is actually Richard Van Veen being the next car. So, but the car ahead of that car is Coffrey as we ride on board through one of my favorite sections in motorsports, the downhill S's at Sonoma. Very fun, very fast, very technical. Sonoma also has so many different layouts right there. The B layout is used in American GT racing, where it's a little bit of a straight and then you go onto the brakes and then it's just a chicane. It takes away that turn, but it opens up with a overtaking opportunity. I know IndyCar used that layout for a while as well, as there are so many different layouts of this track. You know, you got the drag strip, you got the cup layout, you got the outside layout, which used to be referred to as the cup layout, but it's no longer referred to as the cup layout. Then they went back to referring to the cup layout because the cup went back to using that outside line because nobody could run the carousel correctly. And then they had the S's, and you had the S's with the straight line. Then they got the short hairpin, then the big hairpin. Yeah, there are 2 hairpins in the hairpin section here at Sonoma. As you see the actual old hairpin where the IndyCars used to do it. And the reason why they didn't use this hairpin was because they were feared.
Varani past Coffrey, sorry, Austin. Michael Coffrey's got damage. He's crabbing in the background. He's been off somewhere.
Coffrey, damage. Oh no. As this is Coffrey, but this would be way earlier. This is the spin. Same spin, but I think he might have been involved in another incident because we did see him hit crabbing. He's in the pits right now, so we're going to be staying with Coffrey for most of this lap. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, there's Coffrey. He's damaged. He's crabbing. Did he get hit by the 38? Did the 38 and Coffrey collect each other?
I'm not sure. That's really strange. So let's see if we can get some form of idea. Michael Coffrey coming through turn 6.
Oh, he's lost the back end. Here comes the 38 right into it. Boom! There's the tap right there. The 38 and Coffrey. Oh no, just a innocent tap right there. Coffrey losing the back end. And that car that he just tapped, it looks like Richard Van Veen might have tapped him, but I'm not sure about that.
I think it was Richard Van Veen, because it's very close to Luca Varani. Van Veen was unsighted through turn 6. I'm not sure what he could have been expected to do. Don't, anticipate a car being sideways on the exit of the corner. Of course, you always can't really sort of make an informed decision until you've seen the onboard from Van Veen's perspective, but it did look like he he couldn't have really done anything. But Coffrey, I mean, he's got the pace, but his tyre wear was absolutely awful from his perspective. I mean, it was like he was driving a rallycross car or a drift car rather than a Formula 3 downforce car.
Yeah, the back end of these cars are really struggling with 2 laps to go. Around the outside, Zomotor and Maruk side by side, but Lucas Maruk at the carousel around the outside, making that baby work for it. And that was very beautiful by Lucas Maruk versus Zoltan Zomotor right there, and they're both of them having a great time.
Not part of the IGP Fun League for nothing. Every driver who you see or speak to after the race just praises how much fun they have in the IGP Fun Formula 3 League, and it goes to show why. I mean, I'm not a fan of Formula 3 cars in general, but every time that I watch a race, I just want to jump into one of these races. They look so much fun. All right, Lucas Maruk, though, up to 8th place now, on the back, actually, of Stephen Ridders, but Jerome Lamy in no man's land at the moment, 16.6 seconds ahead of McIntyre Jones. He set the fastest lap a few laps ago. He's now into the 21, so 1 minute 21.96. In fact, scrap that. Make it a 1 minute 21.9 flat. Final lap now, white flag flying. Potapenko past Victor Barris. Potapenko making his way up. Lucas Maruk on the back of Stephen Ridders. It's all going to happen in the final lap here at Sonoma.
As we run on board of Lucas Maruk, can he get past this car? White flag is in the air as here comes Maruk onto the back of Stephen Ridders. They're so close. Can Ridders hold on to 7th place? They still got another lap. That is so far away because it's pretty much a lap and a half remaining for these drivers. But Jerome Lamley is so far ahead that he's on the white lap and everybody else is still on the former lap pretty much. As you can see Ridders diving, dancing, and battling with that car as Lucas Maruk is closing him down. He goes wide. Here comes Maruk to gain the advantage, but Ridders with that bad exit, that's not going to be working out for him. But Maruk definitely getting the white flag from Barney as they come across the start-finish line. As this is Jerome Lamley. He's almost pretty much lapped them already. He's coming around the hairpin. And to take a lights to checkered victory and a grand slam pole fastest lap, leading every lap, he's gonna lock it up and he's gonna mark it with an 11 to take the win. Jerome Lamley as he burns it down across the line.
I was going to say you might be a little bit concerned about losing the win to Will McIntyre Jones, but no, I mean McIntyre Jones
so
even in the same
ahead.
county. I mean, so far ahead, insane gap. I think that's one of the largest winning margins we've seen in the IGP Fun League for quite some time. Brewer, Richie Robinson.
Oh, Maruk could have a good look. Maruk could have a good look on Ridders right there. He looked out to the inside, but Ridders gets loose and Maruk got him off the exit. Ridders with the too much mustard off the exit. Back end wiggling around like a dog at a barbecue. And back end unable to keep the grip. But now here comes Zoltan Zomotor. Can Zomotor get the amazing dive and try to get onto 8th place for Ridders? He's looking down to the inside. He is just selling a fake. Ridders gets off the brakes. He locks up. Here comes Zomotor. Zomotor off the exit. And Ridders is off the line. There's a car spinning around the infield. That's no one to be concerned about as they're lapped out. Ridders comes home with 8th. Zomotor in 9th as Noel Richard Robinson is one of them burning it down. Richard Van Veen, they come across the line in 18th. And I feel like everybody except for Potapenko is the one that is coming across the line right now. But man, everybody I feel like is burning their tires to the ground, starting up a barbecue, setting these tires on fire, and jumping off this track because I feel like a few of them are not going to be happy at the end of this race with how much they had to work to keep these tires alive. Oh my gosh, what a race.
What a race. I mean, it wasn't, the most action-packed wall-to-wall that we've seen from the IGP Fun series, but it had a lot of strategic elements to it and a lot, as you said, tyre management. Here are your race results. Jerome Lamy wins by 14 seconds from Will McIntyre Jones, and that's not even the half of it. Jerome Lamy slowed down, stopped, had a cup of tea, decided about what he was going to do next week, and still came across the line 14 seconds ahead of Will McIntyre Jones. Tony Jimenez is in third. Great podium for him. Luca Varani just outside in fourth place. Adam Tausma up to fifth. Robert Ridgway sixth. Lucas Maruk, after having to pit, comes home in seventh place after getting past Stephen Ridders on the final lap. He finishes eighth, just ahead of Zoltan Zomota. Nicholas Westman rounds out your top 10 with Podopenko just outside that magical top 10. He's in 11th. Victor Barris 12th. Matthew Gracie 13th. Killan Richie Robinson is 14th with Ben Gietti in 15th place. John S. McKenzie 16th. Jeffrey Brewer 17th. Richard Van Veen is 18th with Noel Richie Robinson in 19th. And Nick Carty rounding out your top 20. Andy Flint is 21st in our last driver to only be one lap down as of the pace that we saw from Jerome Lamy. Alejandro Loedo is 23rd, Rory Collins 24th. Coffrey, after being hit by Richard Van Veen, he was running second and then third for so long in this race. He finishes in 25th. Reed Dennis 26th. Patrick Rowland had an accident on the last lap. He's 27th. James Clark seemed to spend more time off the track than on it. He's 28th. Frankie Franchica 29th, and the first of our retirees. Alistair Hay 30th, Darren Rowlandson 31st, Juan Coffrey 32nd, Evan Way 33rd, Rodrigo Duran 34th, and Graham Nicol in 35th. And he did not take the start. Austin, what an absolutely astounding race. Once again, IGP Fun delivers. It always delivers every single time we go to any circuit. It could be the most boring circuit in the world, we think, and then IGP Fun rocks up and we have one of the best races that you could watch around the circuit.
It really is. It was so much fun watching this race. Action up and down the field. There was a lot of incidents, drivers trying to keep the tires alive, but they certainly kept through there, and one of them was definitely Jerome Landley with that fantastic race here today. Next week is going to be a very much different week. We're going over to England as we head to Oulton Park Circuit with the International No Chicanes, and it's going to be a lot of fun over there. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here this week at Sonoma and IGP Fun on Apex Racing TV. I've been joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams, and we got Mark Tranter in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.